Especially, keep those muscles flexed.
Yes.
And that's the wonderful, not, I shouldn't say the wonder, I keep saying the wonderful, but that's been the nice thing to do during this pandemic. Cause for a while I wasn't editing at all, and I
Mm-hmm.
was just feeling down on myself and like, oh, I'm no good. But then I was just, you know what, let me just do a little bit of editing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get that editing muscle in my brain
Mm-hmm.
going, and just keep practicing and doing
And you
stuff.
never know
So
who's watching.
yeah,
You
yeah.
never know what can come from you just focusing on what you're doing and working towards your goals.
Mhm.
Someone's always watching. Now, what picture do you want them to see? You being lazy and just kind of sitting back on your talents, or you actually pushing forward? Because then that'll tell them everything they need to know about you and your brand. So that's just my motto.
Well, now my next thing to do is to learn how to balance on 4 bottles.
Right, right.
That is my next goal.
Right.
I
I
have I have
definitely
all
don't
of
think
2021.
call one of my brothers. I'm like, hey, I have a trick I want us to try.
Let's go.
Right.
Welcome everybody to Casting for Two, the podcast. As always, hosted by me, Chris. Welcome everybody to episode number 422. Wonderful episode for you guys today. Awesome episode. Of course, I have to say, there's a lot of things going on in the world that don't need repeating. Maybe, you know what, they actually do need repeating, and which is why I'm doing this. Message of the podcast has always been be kind and courteous to others, and if you see a brother and sister in need, help them out. Okay, let's be selfless here. We're all sharing this planet together, and we all need to look out for each other because, again, realistically, we're all the same. We're all children of this planet, and we need to act like it. All right. And of course, if you're going to go outside, the pandemic is not over. It's not over yet. Vaccines have been going out, and it's been wonderful seeing people get vaccinated. Don't forget to wear a mask. We're not out of the woods yet, all right, people? So be kind and courteous to others and wear a damn mask. That is my spiel for this episode. My guest today is an extremely beautiful, talented individual. She is an actress. She is a Grammy-nominated songwriter, producer. She does everything. But the biggest thing that I took away from chatting with her is how positive she is towards people's talents and nurturing of that. And I love to see when creators give back to other talented individuals. Lisa Yaro is on the podcast, and she's listen to the chat. She's so inspirational and so moving, and I really think you're going to enjoy this episode, this chat. But I need to stop talking so we can get into this chat, all right? So everybody sit back, relax, and not Chris, Lisa, take it away.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Lisa.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good. I felt so old. I was like, wait, I have not been on Skype in such a long time.
It's so funny because, I use Skype just because that's, what I've used for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
and I don't mind Zoom. I don't mind any of them, but everyone's always just, oh, send over your Skype. I'm like, all right,
Right.
all right. Really, I could, Skype works for me when I have to record directly from a landline.
Right. Okay. That makes
So,
sense.
so yeah, but yeah, really, I'm not. I have no
Preference.
nothing stopping me from doing anything. No.
Hey, whatever works is my motto.
But how is your day going so
My
far?
day is good. I just hopped off of my Instagram live show that I do every day. It's a talent show.
Mm.
I found ways to kind of, connect with my fans and my followers and people in India, Morocco, Jamaica, the UK, Africa in general. And it's been going really well. So literally hopped off there and hopped on here.
Hey, how long have you been doing that?
I've been doing it for a little over 3.5 weeks. It's just something I
Mm.
decided to do just to connect with people,
Yeah.
crazy times. And I figured it was a way for people to get to know my personality and engage more.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's a great call. What's been the coolest? I don't want to say nobody, all the talents aren't cool,
Right.
but what's the coolest talent you've seen so far?
Okay, so these two brothers from Nigeria, they
Hmm.
did like a Circus Soleil kind of thing.
Oh,
And kid you not, they were standing, one was standing on the other's back while they balanced on four bottles on a chair, on top of
whoa!
a chair. Craziest thing. I
Oh
was like,
my
I don't have insurance liability. Please be careful.
god!
But it was a good time.
it, it's amazing, the fact that we are all human, we're all the same, except you have, two brothers that are capable of doing that, and I don't want to say the rest of us, but a good chunk.
Right.
I can't do that with my sister.
I
Maybe
definitely
because we're
couldn't.
not twins. I don't know. I don't know.
Trust issues definitely enter the conversation. Uh,
But
That's too funny.
no.
But yeah, no, it's been really good. Just finding ways to keep everyone, entertained and as far
Hmm.
as keeping it light. It's very important that we're
Yeah.
aware of what's going on in the world, but it's also important to have some kind of balance because it's a slippery slope,
Hmm.
and most people don't have an outlet, and I try to provide that.
Okay. And being I like that you mentioned having an outlet. Being uh, me personally, I was never a person who watched the news or pay
Hmm.
attention because I was like, man, I'm young, invincible, whatever.
Right.
And then everything that's been going on the past couple of years, I've just been drawn to like what's going on, how's it going to
Yeah.
affect me, my family, stuff like that. Did you have that awareness, when you were younger, or is this just
Um,
like myself, you just kind of picked it up?
You know, I don't think when anyone's younger, they really have that full awareness of what's going on in the world and how it affects them directly. I think
Hmm.
that's something you gradually, you know, embrace along the way. The more knowledge you gain, the more research you do, the more things that you see, you
Hmm.
kind of get to grasp the real reality of how things really are going. It's easy for some people to just live in a bubble and not know what
Yeah.
on earth is going on around them. And they're perfectly fine creating their own utopia. But definitely, I will say, going to college and just interacting with other people from other parts of the world and traveling, most importantly, helps
Hmm.
you see what's going on in your own country and helps you see the ups and the downs of that.
Yeah, because obviously, and that's partly why I liked the show is
Hmm.
because I get to chat with everybody,
Right.
who has a world like yourself, a
A
more
worldly view.
exactly, and
Yeah.
that's I'm like, okay, what's going on in the world? Tell me about the world. How is it?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and one of the thing, obviously, we're all going through the situation that we're going through,
Hmm.
and with the pandemic going on, I'm curious, with the shelter in place and all of that, have you noticed an uptick in your creativity?
I will say yes,
Hmm.
only because it forces you to find creative ways to do things by yourself.
Yeah.
you know, kind of like you're the only child.
Hmm.
So for some people, it's just a means outlet for them to not be creative and they just sit back, and that's fine. You know, how everyone reacts to it's totally different. But as
Yeah.
for me, I definitely think I found ways to challenge myself to be more creative in my space and to engage more with people. And there's always a silver lining, and some people, 2020 was one of the best years financially for them because they found a new avenue that they
Hmm.
probably would have never tapped into.
Hmm.
And for me, I started doing a lot more YouTube content, and doing the talent show. It just opened a lot of doors and a lot of engagement within my followers and my fans for my music especially. So I think it's definitely challenged me to push the envelope.
It certainly is amazing. A lot of the home businesses that have, like, I have a few friends
Yes.
that, he was researching, and I'm not saying like this is easy by far, but he was just reading that one of the best ways is to just like start like a merchandise, like going through the website selling shirts and stuff like that you design. And I was just, oh, that's interesting, and so that's what he started doing. my
Right.
friend my friend makes scrunchies, and just all these cool things that people are just like, you know what, I finally have time to craft, let me just do that and sell it.
Exactly. And which is great. I love to see, business flourish from the ground up, because
Hmm.
if something like this would not have happened, would they have had the motivation to start something?
Right, right.
So it's always the devil's side to it. You gotta pull out the silver linings in these kind of situations. You just have
Exactly,
to.
exactly. As a person who wears many hats and does many things.
Mhm.
What was, whether it was acting or singing or modeling, what was one of the first things that you were drawn to when it came to the entertainment business?
So it kind of was a duet. They were
Mm,
acting and music.
mm,
When I was younger, my parents put me in musicals and plays, and I was Princess Jasmine, alongside Aladdin. So acting and singing at the same time. So I kind of fell in love with both at the same time,
mhm.
but I knew that I couldn't necessarily attack both at the same time. I had to pick one. So I ventured off into the world of music because I loved doing poetry, and engaging in that world. I felt, okay, if I can write stories and be creative in that space, how can I translate that melodically?
Mhm.
So tackled music, and along the way accomplished some of my goals within music. So I started doing acting and doing background work. And, it's like every actor's rite of passage, to be
Right.
the background actor in a court show or whatever the case, whatever show or movie, and just kind of work your way up. So I knew that I loved both, and I didn't want to have to choose. And oftentimes in this industry, they try to force you to say, well, you can only do one. And who's to say you
Right.
can only do one? If you have many talents and God blesses you with many talents, why can't you showcase them all? I would hate to leave this earth, full of talents. I would love to leave having all my talents emptied out and, displayed across the world. That's the point. So
Mhm.
I definitely gravitated towards the music first, but just learning the ropes, and you learn from your mistakes in every part of the industry. So definitely learned from a few mistakes.
Mhm.
And I always tell people, learn the business side first, because
Right,
that's
right.
going to help you in the future.
That is, I get people that are just the creative type and like, oh, I only focus on this and this,
Hmm.
and but there is the whole other half that, if you don't have, if you're not real willing to do the work and learn about it, at least have good people that you can trust as far as the business side goes.
Hmm.
I could see how. I mean, knowledge is power in general. So
Yes, if applied.
yes, yes.
But
uh,
yes, I agree.
as far as your music, Do you feel that you've used, your music in your acting and vice versa?
Oh, yes. I've definitely felt as though you have to be creative and
Hmm.
marketing yourself because you are the brand. So I have to find ways to display my talents. And oftentimes what I do is if I have a series that I'm doing, I'll put my music in it.
Hmm.
If I've executive produced some films that have made it to Netflix or, have been in a movie called London Mitchell's Christmas, which was aired on TV and is on BT Plus currently. I worked in my contract where I can have a song in the soundtrack.
Mm.
So it's just learning how to play chess
Hmm.
with the tools that you're given. And for me, trying to find ways to weave the music with the acting for me, I feel like it's been working out just fine.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I put my song in my intro music. When I'm hosting my show, I throw it in there because no one's going to root for you louder than you.
Hmm.
No one should root for you louder than you. That's just kind of how it goes. I'm a
Oh yeah.
walking billboard.
No, I certainly get that. Oh my gosh. And that's one of the nice things of being able, you're capable of doing all that instead
Mhm.
of being like, who am I gonna find to do this intro music, or there's a certain song that I want in this
Mhm.
scene, blah blah blah. It's like, I have the means to do it, so that's what
Yes.
I'm gonna do.
You can't wait for someone to make your dreams come true. That's insanity.
Hmm.
A lot of people often fail to realize that, they sit back and they wait for someone to come and save them or come and give them something on a silver platter. You'll be waiting for the rest of your life if you don't make these steps and at least be proactive in your career. So,
Hmm. There we go. And yeah, no, and that's why it's always nice to, you know, especially keep those muscles flexed.
yes.
And that's the wonderful, not, I shouldn't say the wonder, I keep saying the wonderful, but that's been the nice thing to do during this pandemic, because for a while I wasn't editing at all, and I
Hmm.
was just feeling down on myself and like, oh, I'm no good. But then I was just, you know what, let me just do a little bit of editing,
Hmm.
let me get that editing muscle in my brain going,
Hmm.
and just keep practicing and doing
And you
stuff.
never know
So
who's watching.
yeah,
You
yeah.
never know what can come from you just focusing on what you're doing and working towards your goals.
Hmm.
Someone's always watching. Now, what picture do you want them to see? You being lazy and just kind of sitting back on your talents, or you actually pushing forward? Because then that'll tell them everything they need to know about you and
Hmm.
your brand. So that's just my motto.
Well, I'm now, my next thing to do is to learn how to balance on 4 bottles.
Right, right.
That is my next goal.
Right.
I
I
have I have
definitely
all of
don't
2021.
call one of my brothers and like, hey, I have a trick I want us to try.
Let's go.
Right. But there are a lot
But
of talented people out there.
oh
So
yeah,
yeah,
oh
I
yeah.
always try to encourage people to, you know, root for themselves and put themselves out there. And I try to provide a space for them to do so as well. That doesn't take away from me and my blessings,
Hmm.
by any means necessary. If I'm able to showcase someone, if I'm able to give someone an opportunity, then that's great.
Now, going back to the whole talents thing, because
Hmm.
I'm curious. Is there one talent that you saw, besides the whole balancing on bottles,
Hmm.
that you like just wish, oh man, I wish I could do that. I wish I had that talent.
Um, no, respectfully, only because I have so many talents. I'm like, what do I
Yeah.
do with these?
Right. Right.
Um, I think that everyone is blessed with the right talent for them, and I appreciate the talents that I have. I admire their talents by all
Yeah.
means. But I don't think I've ever wished like, oh, I wish this, I wish I could do this because I'm like, oh, well, I got a list of things that I can do and it keeps me occupied. So, be careful what you wish for
Right.
because you're not going
I,
to have time to accomplish them all if that's the case. So, no, but I admire everyone's talents. We have amazing singers that come on there. We have people coming on the show to do monologues.
mm.
people coming on to just display their small businesses,
Mm.
paintings, artwork. There was a beautiful painting by this young gentleman who lives in Jamaica, and I kid you not, the painting looked like it would be worth thousands. And he's like, "Oh,
Oh.
I just do this as a hobby." I'm like, "What?
Yeah,
A
you close your
hobby?"
eyes, you get the brush, and boom, it's done.
Yeah. I'm like, "A hobby? Wow." I'm like, "You need to put this up. Like, this could be a venture for you, you know?" So sometimes people just need seeds planted.
Yeah, oh,
But
that's good.
yeah.
And as far as writing, I'm fascinated with songwriters because I can't do it to save my life. I can write it. I can write short films, songs. That's a whole nother beast.
Mhm.
For you, like, what do you have a certain process that you do your writing in? Like, is it I go to a room where it's completely quiet, or do you need to walk around, the streets before COVID, obviously?
Right, right, right. Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
You know what? It's for me, it just comes, my inspiration comes in various ways.
Mm.
So sometimes I'll be asleep and a song comes to me and I wake up and I start jotting lyrics down and I start recording the melodies that I hear. So the producer that I work with can try to replicate that.
Mm.
When I go in with the artist, obviously I'm not like, hey, let's turn all the lights off. That'd be a little weird. But I sit there and I engage with the person that I'm writing with or for, and just kind of get a background on, their experiences, what they're feeling, and then I take on that feeling and see it from my perspective, how I would feel, how I would react. It just kind of comes to me, there's no special process that I have a tea with 2 splashes of lemon and I have to walk on the left side of the wall. No,
Right.
none of that. None of that. I think it's because I've been writing poetry since I was, wow, in like the 3rd grade.
Mm.
So I just loved writing in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you ever look back at the writing you've done, even like let's say from third grade,
Hmm.
and are you either like, oh, I don't know who this person is, or are you like just having flashbacks of memories, of when you were that age or when you were going through a particular headspace?
Um, I look back and I just laugh. I'm like, oh
Mm.
wow, like, I just thought I was just, this deep, soulful person and the waves crashing against my heart and
Mm.
be, my parents are like, oh my God, what is she talking? I was like, wow, I really put my family through it back then. I'd gather them up and just, perform for them. And they're like, just clap, just clap. They're very supportive though. I do appreciate that because I think that's what did help, with the motivation and the confidence. But yeah, looking back, I love to always back at my journals and,
Mm.
different poetries that I've done along the way. And I definitely see progression and growth. So it's good that I look back at it from time to time. That's one of my favorite things to do, actually.
Okay.
It's good, like
And
reconfirmation of, okay, you're on the right direction. You're on the right path.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's no right or wrong answer, but I'm very curious,
Hmm.
and everyone has different preferences, but for you, what makes a good song?
Oh, that's a good one. For me, what makes a good song are the lyrics
Hmm.
because that is what captures me and I'm locked in by the lyrics. Everyone loves a good melody, a good beat, of
Right.
course, but it's all about the lyrics for me. Oftentimes I find people like, oh, this is such a great song. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. What are they talking about? I don't know, but isn't the melody so great? I'm like, okay, words are very powerful. So,
Right.
sometimes when we're listening to music, you're feeding your subconscious. So I like to know what my subconscious is eating you know so I definitely like to know what I'm putting inside of my subconscious. And I like meaningful songs, motivational songs. Everyone likes the fun party songs. That's great, but I
Right. Right.
look for lyrics. I connect with the lyrics. And honestly, I love country because
Mm.
they tell beautiful stories, from start to finish, and it keeps you engaged.
Yeah.
So I try to do that.
Okay. Okay. There's being a kid. I was born in the '80s, but I'm very much a kid of the '90s and the early millennium. So the whole emo scene resonates with me.
Mm.
And like the bands that I listened to, like it was more of like, oh, the beat, the melody. I'm a drummer, so
Mhm.
that's like the easiest connection for me to do is
Mhm.
just a good, interesting drum part. But being older now, and this has happened with the past year. I'll go back and just listen to some of the emo songs, and I'm like, wow, a lot of these songs are pretty deep and just asking for forgiveness or trying to tell a loved one how much they love them, but they can't because they're emo.
Right.
And it's just been like, why? Obviously now that I'm older, I have an appreciation for it, but I was like,
Right.
why didn't I have that when I was younger?
Right. It's like, wait a minute. It's like unlocking Pandora's box. Wow, this is like a whole nother level to the song. I did not know.
Yeah, it's like for the longest time, I was like, yeah, Yellow Card is the one band with the violin player, and now I'm just listening to them like, no, they actually had stuff that they were trying to say, and I was like, I respect that.
Right. And you know what? Sometimes they capture other audience members by their melody and by the
Hmm.
the beat. So it's a way to pull people in. That's strategic.
that yes, I Yellow Card knew what they were doing. That's
Right.
if there's anything that comes out of this podcast, it's that.
That's I have to check them out now. See.
They're not for everyone. Anyway, so no,
You're
no.
right.
As far as endeavors and wanting to do stuff, obviously
Hmm.
the pandemic is going on.
Right.
But is there something that you want to do that you're excited to accomplish? Within your career or like collaborations? Do you want to direct a movie? So there's like all this stuff.
There's so much I want to do. Yes, I often write down, my goals list, and
Hmm.
directing is definitely on that. Just continuing to create and challenging myself to step into new spaces with music collaborations, being an independent artist, an Afrobeats artist. Oftentimes, it's, you're working your way up the hill.
Hmm.
So there are artists, here's one, Sade. So, hey, dream big,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm putting it into the universe. Definitely would love to collaborate with the likes of Sade and, other talented artists. Definitely would love to. I have a movie that's currently in the pipeline. Can't really say the name of it yet, but
Hmm.
it has some huge A-list actors. Very excited about that film and my role that's in it. It drops, I believe, towards the end of this year.
Hmm.
And I'm excited to see people, to have people see me in a different light because it's a different character than I normally would play.
Hmm.
And I love the message that the movie is displaying and what it's about. It has meaning, it has depth. So I'm very excited about that.
Hmm.
But yeah, executive producing. I currently, have been executive producing various projects, but just adding to the resume. Why not?
Yeah.
Carpe diem.
There
If
we
if
go.
there's something you want to do, go for it. Don't be afraid because this is not a dress rehearsal. This is the real thing.
Oh, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. That has to be a shirt.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. This is not a dress rehearsal.
Right. Because
There we
it's not.
and and I don't want to ask questions about the movie, but you did mention that it's a different type of character.
Hmm.
Is that as far as character work
Hmm.
goes? Is there a process of let's say you're playing somebody who's emotional?
Hmm.
Do you, after they call cut, that's scene, that's a wrap for the day? Do you have to take a moment for yourself to decompress, or is it like cut and then you're out of it?
I think certain scenes you definitely do have to take a moment to just kind of easily adjust yourself out of that situation because
Hmm.
you do pull from a real place in
Hmm.
order to show authenticity. you
Hmm.
know um so yes, I've definitely had moments where within this film you have to take a beat and calmly get yourself out. Now there are
Hmm.
those who can just flip it on and off like a switch. I'm like, wow,
Right.
okay, I keep an eye on them. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. No, But yeah, that's just my method.
Gotcha. Has there, and this is all your work, has there ever been a time where, it was hard for you to say goodbye to a character because you liked bringing them to life so much?
Not yet.
Hmm.
Loved every character I've played, but no, not yet. And I can't wait until the day that I can say that.
Hmm.
Well, within, the sanity level of like, I don't want to let them go. I don't want to live in their life.
Right,
But
right, right.
yeah, definitely. Not yet. I think this year what I'm doing is challenging myself to step outside of the roles that I currently, previously have been doing
Hmm.
and tap into different areas and just
Yeah.
kind of see where it takes me. So it's
Yeah.
been fun so far.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
I always wonder about, I'm going to say, like Bryan Cranston as an example.
Hmm.
Like if he thinks about, I wonder what Walter would be doing if he were still alive, in Breaking Bad. But,
Yeah.
like I just wonder how somebody who sticks with a character for so long, like, do they like, well, he's dead. Okay. Or does he think about like, I wonder, if this went differently for
I
them or,
wonder the same thing. Because if you've built a character for so many years, you have an attachment to that character.
right, right,
You know, it's almost like you're mourning the loss of someone.
right,
So
right.
yeah, that's a great question. I would look if you ever talk to him, let me know what he says.
You know what? I'll get on the horn with Bryan Cranston after this,
Right. Just
and then
just
I'll ask him that question. I'll say, "Here's the Instagram. Show off your talent tomorrow."
right. Lisa would love to know. That's too funny.
uh, but if there's one thing I love on the podcast, it's a good fail story, a
Mhm.
good auditions are crazy and horrific. I'm just wondering if you have either a fail audition story, even a gig fail story.
Oh, I have a good fail audition story when I first started.
All right.
So I think it had to have been like the first room I walked in, and there were some big casting directors in there, and I don't think it really clicked in my head like
Hmm.
how important the role that I was auditioning for was. My acting coach prepared me. I was like, oh, I've got it in the bag. This is great. First audition.
Hmm.
I walk in there, state your name, da da da, engage with everyone. I'm like, oh, this is going great. This is going great. All right, ready when you are. And I just stood there. I was like,
Yep.
wait.
Yep.
I was having a conversation in my head, like, what are you doing? Go.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Go. Oh my gosh. Now they're just looking at us. And like, for some reason, I like the nerves just got me.
Mm.
And it never happened before, in like, class, of course, you think, okay, I can just take it and roll with it.
Right.
Wow. I was in shock. I was like, wow. Okay. Wow. And like, are you ready? Yes. Ready when you are. Why are you staring at them? Say something. I'm like, oh my gosh. So then when I finally started, it went okay.
Yeah.
But in my head, I was like, oh, they probably thought I was just about the weirdest thing ever. Like 8 minutes of just silence, just like, are you okay? You ready? You want some water? Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm ready. Go. Okay. Like searching for the word somewhere in my head. I don't know what happened, but my memory failed me that day. So
Gotcha.
yes, but I took that day as a learning lesson and I said never again. And I'm thankful that I can say it's never happened
Oh,
again.
that's
But
good. That's good.
oh, my friends still make fun of me to this day. They say, ready when you are. I'm like, ha ha ha, funny.
That it's
Uh,
I've only done a couple of casting things, but
mhm.
it's especially if you're doing it in LA. Like they have to have seen it all, right? And
Right,
they know the protocol. Get some water, she'll be fine. She'll remember
right.
everything. But, it still is nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
But
but thankfully they saw my video audition
mm,
before I came in. So it wasn't like they didn't know I could do it.
yeah.
But it was so embarrassing. I was like,
Well,
I'm
you know
not
what?
going to forget that.
You know what? Yes, and at least never again.
Exactly,
That's the
exactly.
important
I'm
thing.
claiming it.
But for people who want to keep up with you online, hang out with you, watch your talent shows, all that good stuff, where can they do all that?
Yes, you guys can all find me on Instagram at Lisa Yaro. That's Lisayaro. And they can also find me on YouTube, same name, Lisa Yaro. I post content at least once or twice a week. It's a safe place for people to go, laugh, have a good time, and just decompress. As well as Facebook, official Lisa Yaro, and
Mhm.
my Twitter is Miss Lisa Yaro, and that's MsLisayaro.
There we go. All right. Lisa, thank you so much for chatting with me. I enjoyed it. Anytime you want to come back and just talk about anything and nothing about talents, I'd love to do that with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. But I'll let you go. Continue to have a safe and healthy, rest of your day slash month slash year, and yeah, just keep being your awesome self. All right.
Thank you. You have a great day.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.